Just when you thought it was safe to eat flies, a new and dangerous enemy pops up today in the conclusion of our rivet scratch tutorial.
Hello everyone, this is part 2 of the rivet tutorial in Scratch. Today we're going to be learning how to make fish bite the lily pads, so it makes it a little more challenging. We're going to add a game over and a winning screen, and we're going to add some sound effects too. Alright, so the first thing we're going to add is the fish biting. So to start with that, we're going to start with this. So in this little script here, it's going to be the same for all of them. We're going to have set hoppable to 1 and set lily pads missing to 0. And what these will do is set hoppable to 1. Hoppable is going to detect if this lily pad, if you're able to jump onto the lily pad or not. Because once a fish bites it, then the lily pad will sink under the water and you won't be able to go on it for a bit. And once it bites it, the lily pad will be missing. So for whatever amount of lily pads that are missing, it'll set that to the number of lily pads missing. So when it starts, we want all the lily pads to be there, and we want all the lily pads to be hoppable. So we're going to do exactly that for all 3 of these. The only difference is hoppable. We have a different variable for each of these lily pads because we need to detect like the individual lily pads to tell which one is hoppable. And we don't need this for all of them because just having it once here is fine for the whole thing. Next thing we want is this and this. Alright, so if a random number from 1 to 3 is 1, then it changes lily pads missing to 1. So this one is now missing. Sets the animation to the fish biting animation. It waits 2 seconds for that to finish. Repeat until size is equal to 100. Change ghost effect by 10 and change size by -10. So that's going to make it so as soon as the fish bites, it'll look like it's retracting back into the water. And we want a delay of 0.01 seconds in between those frames. Then it's going to wait 2 seconds before it pops back up. It's going to change back to the lily pad animation. And then it's going to do basically the exact same thing. Repeat until size is equal to 240. But it's going to do the opposite, so it's going to come back. So it's like it's floating back up to the water. And then when you're done that, put set hoppable back to 1 and change the lily pads missing by -1. Alright, so now we're going to we're going to add those for each of these. Same thing, we want to change it so that hoppable is the right thing. So hoppable 2 will be on lily pad 2. Hoppable 3 will be on lily pad 3, and then just hoppable will be on lily pad 1. We could start it right now, but biting wait time isn't defined. So the biting wait time, it waits a certain amount of time before it's able to bite again. So we want to have an actual amount of time for that. So we're going to add this script right here. Alright, when it starts, you set the bite waiting time to 7, wait 10 seconds, then forever if flies is equal to 12, then set bite waiting time to 4. So by default, the waiting time is going to be 7, and then if you get enough flies, so if you get the fly count down to 12, then the biting speed will be faster. So we have this waiting second because it takes a while for the flies to load. Alright, so the next thing we're going to add is going to make it so that if the fish bit onto the lily pad or the lily pad is missing, you're not going to be able to jump on it. Because right now, if a fish bites, then you're still able to jump there. Basically, the only thing that we've coded is the animation changes. Look, like I can still jump in these spaces, just the lily pad's gone. So how we're going to fix that is just with this little script. So if the costume name is equal to fish bite 18, 19, and 20, set hoppable to 0. So go into costumes. Fish bite 18, 19, and 20 are these last ones where the mouth is closed. So you're still going to be able to be on the lily pad when the mouth is open, but as soon as he closes his mouth, then you're either going to die or you're not going to be able to jump there anymore. So we have that on all of these. It's the exact same code. You don't have to change anything. Then, alright, there we go. Now I'm pressing the button and nothing's happening. Alright, so we got two problems with the code that we just made. First one is if all fish bite at the same time, you got nowhere to go and you're just going to die immediately. So we got one easy fix for that, is if lily pads missing is not equal to 2. So if there's not 2 lily pads missing. Hello everyone, this is part 2 of the Ribbit tutorial here in Scratch. And if there are 2 lily pads missing, learning how to make the last fish will not be able to bite the lily pads, so it makes it a little more challenging. There's only 2 fish. We're going to add actually a game over, but we have to put that winning screen, and we're going to add some sound effects too. So same place. So the first thing we're going to add or anything is the fish biting. Same thing on each. So to start with that, we're going to start with this. So and the second problem is in this little script here. If you're standing, it's going to be the same for all pads. We're going to have set hoppable to 1. You don't die. Lily pads missing 0. The only what these will do is set hoppable to 1. Hopple is going to detect if this lily pad actually you're able to jump onto the lily pad or not. In the frog, once you want to do once a fish bites it right here, then so it looks kind of under the water and you won't be able to go on it. Pretty much the exact same thing 3 times. And so once it bites it, the lily pad will be missing. So flag is clicked for whatever amount of lily pads they're missing. It'll set that to the number of lily pads to make sure when it starts. We want all the lily pads to be there on them, and we want all the lily pads to be hoppable. And then so we're gonna do exactly that for all 3 of these. Exposition. The only difference is hoppable. You have a different variable for each of these lily pads. This we detect like individual lily pads. Broadcast game one is hoppable. Stop other scripts, and we don't need this for all of them because just having it once here is fine. Switch costume to chomped. Next thing we want is this and this. Alright, so if wait 1.5 seconds, a random number layer from 1 to 3, switch costume to death, which is the ghost costume. Changes lily pads missing to 1. So this one is now missing. Glide upwards, sets and then hide. Animation to the fish game over is going to do a bunch of different things. But waits 2 seconds for that to finish. You want to repeat this 3 times, and they're all going to be different until size is equal to 100. So this one, change ghost effect this lily pad, and it's going to have and change size by -10 here. So that's going to make it so as soon as the fish bites, it'll look this like it's going to have 2 back into the water and here. So it's the middle one, and we want a delay of -0.36 right here, 0.01 seconds in between those frames. Now it's going to wait 2 seconds before it pops back up. It's going to change back to the lily pad animation, and you die. And then it's going to be basically the exact same thing. Is what's going to stop everything until size in the game to 240, and basically, but it's going to do the opposite. So it's going to come back. So it's something floating back up to the water to determine what's going to happen. That get a game over. So for each of the lily pads, hoppable back to 1. Very small script. The lily pads missing. When I receive game over, stop other scripts in the sprite. All right. So now we're going to try. We're going to add those for each of these. No need for any changes. Same thing. We want to change it so that we have hide and stoppable is the right thing. So when you stick your tongue out, lily pad 2. And if you get bitten while your tongue is out, will be on lily pad 3, hide and then just so hoppable will be on lily pad 1. And the same thing with we could start it right now, but biting wait time isn't defined. So the biting wait time, when I receive game over, it waits a certain amount of time before it's going to be able to stop other scripts in the sprite. So we want to have an actual amount of time, and we're going to have a game over. So we're going to add. So when you click script right the flag, set ghost effect to 100 and show. All right. When it starts, when I receive set game over, bite waiting time. Go to front 7. Wait 1.5 seconds. Then forever. And then if flies is equal 20 to 12, times, then set change bite waiting time to 4. -5. So that's going to have the game over by default fade in. Waiting time is going to be 7. Right, and so then let's give that a test. If you get enough flies, so if you get the fly count down to 12, then the biting speed will be faster. So we have this waiting second because it takes a while for the flies. The last thing we're going to add is a so the next thing we're going to add is going to make it so that if the fish for that in the frog sprite we're going to have pad is missing this code right here, you're not going to be able to jump on it. Because right now, same thing as fish bites, it looks pretty complicated. You're still able to jump there 3 times. Basically, the only thing that we've coded is the animation change. So if I can still jump on these spaces, first lily pad, so negative 136. So and the flies are equal to 0. How we're gonna fix that is this broadcast just with this little script. So if that's costume name winner broadcast to be sent to everything. 18, 19, and 20. Wait 1.5 seconds and glide. Go to costume 3 seconds to 0, 0. Fish bite 18, 19, and 20 are these last ones where the mouth is closed. Wait 4 seconds. So you're still going to be able to be on stop everything else, and then when the mouth is open. But as soon as he closes his mouth, right here, then you're either going to die or and it's going to be the same thing. Jump there anymore. 3 times. The only difference that is on again all of the exposition. It's the exact same code. 2 for the middle one. 138. Then for the third one. All right, there we go. And negative 136. Now I'm pressing the button and nothing's happening. All right. So now we're gonna put the. All right. So we got 2 problems with the code of the things that need. First one is if all fish bite at the same time. You got nowhere to go. You're just gonna die immediately. Winner. Stop other scripts. We got one easy fix for that. Is if wait 1.5 seconds is not equal to costume. So if there's because we don't want it to be to the bite animation when we win, then you're able to bite. So we put that here. If there are 2 lily pads missing, then so the last fish will not be able to bite. So it's as if there's only 2 fish actually in the pond, but we have to put that for all of these. If the frog is at the lily pad, so then you don't have to change the variable or anything. But otherwise, it's just going to go upwards. So repeat until. All right. And the second problem is 300. If you're standing on one of the lily pads and when the fish bites 0.01 seconds, you don't die. Nothing happens. And then it's going to hide. The only difference is the exact same thing for each of these. How we're going to do that is we have exposition here instead of the actual in the frog. You want to do this little script next right here. Is the so it looks kind of complicated, but it's pretty much the exact same thing 3 times. So first, flies don't have any flag is we only have these. You set the lady frog, hopple 2 and hopple 3 to 1. When it starts, it's going to hide sure that and the lily pad size, which is 200%. And then if forever wait 0. Exposition is 0.1 seconds negative 136. That's just changing the costume so that hopple is equal to 0. Broadcast game over. Stop and then other for when you win sprite. Wait 4 seconds. You can't jump anymore. Go to negative switch costume to 250. That costume negative 5 is this one. Show glide for 3 seconds. Wait 1.5 seconds. Go to front layer. Y switch costume 5. To death. Wait 1 second. Ghost costume. Go to negative 140, and then he's gonna glide upwards 5 and then hide and then go back. And game over is gonna do a bunch of different things, but you want to repeat this 3 times. Then next for the lily pad that the lady frog's gonna and they're all gonna be different depending on what lily pad you want. So this one is this lily pad, and it's gonna have hide 138 point in a random direction, and here. When you win, this one's going to have 2 here go to negative 250. So it's the middle one, and this one's going to have negative 136, negative right here and right here. Show then glide for 3 seconds to
Now,
negative
test that.
61
Oh,
and negative
there we go.
23.
And you die.
And all of this is pretty much
Alright,
optional.
so this
It's
game
just,
over command
it makes the game
is
look
what's going to
nicer.
stop everything in the game.
And
Basically
when it
just
starts, this is for the
so we
winner
want
text.
to add something for
When it
each
starts,
thing
set ghost
to
effect to 100.
determine what's going to happen when you get a
and
game
set
over.
size to 0.
So for each of the lily pads,
When you
we have a
win,
very small
wait
script.
8 seconds and
just
repeat
when
100
I receive
times.
game over, stop other
Change
scripts in the
ghost
sprite,
by -1.
and it's the same thing
Change size by
for
2.
all 3 of these. No need for any changes. For this one,
So if we click
have
start,
hide and stop
can-
other scripts in the sprite.
we can just kind of
So when you
cheat here and
stick your
go
tongue out, and if you get bitten
set
while your tongue's
flies-
out, then
uh-oh.
it's going to hide the tongue, so it's not there anymore.
set flies to 0 instead.
And the
So
same
we'll
thing with
just wait till
the
that
tongue
happens.
length, tongue
And
tip and length are the same.
pretend like the flies aren't there, because
They
they
wouldn't actually be there
when I receive
when you're done,
game
'cause
over
you
for
have-
each
you
of
would
the
have eaten them all.
flies.
It's going to be stop other
And
scripts,
there's a
in the
little
sprite,
animation,
then delete
and
this
the
clone.
winner thing pops up.
And we're going to have a game over screen.
So when you click,
So the last thing
the
we'd want to
flag,
do is
set ghost
we're going to add a little
effect
bit
to
of music.
100 and show.
So
when I
in
receive game over,
we'll do this in the
go
backdrop.
to front.
So
wait
when you
1.5
start,
seconds.
it's going to
Um,
repeat the music
And
forever.
then it's going to
So
repeat 20 times.
if you go to the
Gonna
sounds,
change
we
the
have
ghost
hillbilly
effect
music here.
by -5.
And the
That's
exact
gonna have
length
the
is
game over screen fade in when you die.
147 seconds and 8.
Right, so let's give that a test.
82. And then so when you press play, then there's music playing. But we want
There
that
we
music
go.
to stop when we do game over. So
All right.
when I receive
the last
game
thing
over,
we're going to add
stop
is
all
a
sounds.
winning animation.
and
So-
that's it for Ribbit.
For that, in the frog sprite, we're going to have this code right here. So same thing as the death. It looks pretty complicated, but it's repeated 3 times for the different lily pads. So if it's on the first lily pad, so -136, and the flies are equal to 0, broadcast winner. So that's the winner broadcast. It's going to be sent to everything. Wait 1.5 seconds and glide for 3 seconds to 0, 0. Wait 4 seconds. Then it's going to stop everything else and then switch the costume to Lush right here. And it's going to be the same thing 3 times. The only difference is, again, the exposition. So 2 for the middle one, 138 for the third one, and -136 for the first one. Alright, so now we're going to put the winner thing in each of the things that need it. So first is the lily pads. When I receive winner, stop other scripts in this sprite. Wait 1.5 seconds, switch costume to lily pad, because we don't want it to be in the biting animation when we win. If frog X is exposition, so we set that earlier in this script, yeah. So if the frog is at the lily pad, then it's going to glide to 0, 0. But otherwise, it's just going to go upwards. So repeat until Y position is equal to 300. Change Y by 1 and a delay of 0.01 seconds in between. And then it's going to hide. So we're going to have the exact same thing for each of these. And we don't need to change it because we have X position here instead of the actual position of the lily pad. Next is the tongues. They don't have any. Flies don't have any. We only have these. So the lady frog, when it starts, it's going to hide and go to the right size, which is 200%. And forever wait 0.01 seconds, next costume. That's just changing the costume so that it doesn't look too stiff. And then for when you win, wait 4 seconds, go to -250, -5, show, glide for 3 seconds to x equals -61, y is -5, wait 1 second, go to -140, y -5, and then go back after 0.5 seconds. Then next, for the lily pad that the lady frog's going to stand on, when it starts, hide, and then point in a random direction. When you win, wait 4 seconds, go to -250, and y equals -23, show, then glide for 3 seconds to -61 and -23. And all of this is pretty much optional. It's just, it makes the game look nicer. When it starts, this is for the little winner text. When it starts, set ghost effect to 100 and set size to 0. When you win, wait 8 seconds and repeat 100 times. Change ghost by -1, change size by 2. So if we click start, we can just kind of cheat here and go set flies. Set flies to 0 instead. So we'll just wait till that happens and pretend like the flies aren't there, because they wouldn't actually be there when you're done, because you would have eaten them all. And there's a little animation and the winner thing pops up. So the last thing we'd want to do is we're going to add a little bit of music. So we'll do this in the backdrop. So when you start, it's going to repeat the music forever. So if you go into the sounds, we have hillbilly music here. And the exact length is 147 seconds and 8.82. And then so when you press play, then there's music playing. But we want that music to stop when we do game over. So when I receive game over, stop all sounds. And that's it for Ribbit.